Hello. This is B.F. Binks, and I'm going to be reading He Was a Nice Guy by Dear Ophelia. I grew up in a small town with just under 900 people. When I was 14, my entire class was only 42 students. It's a farming community in Oregon, basically in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by other small farming towns. My best friend Sarah and I went to the varsity baseball games all the time because we had nothing else better to do. It was fun, and Sarah's older brother Aaron was a pitcher. Aaron's best friend Sam was 1 year out of high school and was the assistant coach on the baseball team. Sarah and Aaron's parents often left us at their house alone with alcohol and no rules. My parents didn't care what I was out doing, and even though Sam still lived with his parents at 19, Sarah and I had never met them. I suppose they didn't care either. The four of us hung out at the house at the same time. Because we were only 14, Aaron and Sam kept a brotherly eye on us. None of their senior friends would touch us, even if we threw ourselves at them in a drunken haze. Basically, it was Aaron and Sam's fault we didn't have any boyfriends all freshman year. It was one of the last games of the season, and Aaron was pitching, Sam was coaching. After losing the game, the team plus Sarah and I went to throw a party as usual. The parties always happen, win, lose, or rain. We drank and hung out, listened to music, and played drinking games. We were all completely average teenagers with average small-town lives. After I had consumed far more vodka than orange juice, I spilled a drink on the kitchen floor. Sam helped me clean it up, and we stood around talking a little bit before he insisted I go lay down before I fell on my face. He helped me to Sarah's room and gave me a little hug and put me on the bed, but before he drove me home, he checked on me, gave me a little wave, and then said goodnight. I passed out in a fuzzy bliss. No matter how many times I go over the next day in my head, it just never seems right to me. It was surreal, something I have just never understood. The next thing I remember was screaming. Sarah and I woke up to her mother freaking out. In the living room, both Sarah's parents, Aaron and Douglas, the county sheriff, stood there. Everyone was way too upset for it to be something that we did. I felt sick and terrified. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. The sheriff asked me when the last time I saw Sam was. I couldn't speak, couldn't figure out what any of them were saying anymore. I managed to say that I was drunk, and the sheriff asked Sarah if she was drunk, and she said that she was. He simply wrote it down and turned away from us. Very strange. They had to find Sam. Sam was missing. Sam was running away, apparently. Finally, I started putting thoughts together. Sam was running from the police because he had killed his parents. He killed them when he got home from the party with an axe from the woodshed. He had attended the game and the party and went home, picked up an axe, struck his father in the head while he was watching TV. His mother made it to the phone and dialed 911. Sam killed her with blows from the axe while she spoke to the 911 operator, and then he just disappeared for 2 days. Honestly, from the moment I learned about what happened until Sam turned himself in, I was in a daze, scared. I kept expecting it to be a dream or a sick joke. The whole 2 days I can't remember what I did or who I talked to. It didn't help that Sarah and I increased our alcohol and drug intake also. He was such a normal guy, none of us saw what he was capable of. We were all just typical kids. This was 20 years ago and people still avoid talking about it. I never really talk about it or tell the story either, but it was just so weird because he was a nice guy.